Imagine if a 5-person team could produce the same output as a team of 25 without replacing anyone.
It doesn't make sense to me. If it is a multiplier, then why wouldn't I give 5 people that times 5 multiples and have 25 times the effort?
That is the opportunity that Chris DuBois sees in AI. Chris is an Inc. 5000 honoree, founder of Dynamic Agency OS, and a ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club award winner after generating more than $1 million through a single sales funnel. But Chris believes that most companies are thinking about AI the wrong way.
When I saw so many companies doing that, I was immediately like, why? AI is a force multiplier, right? If it can do this much more work, I can actually save a ton of money by reducing my team size and only having one person do that work. When you also have everybody working on it together and sharing their results, it really becomes like 6 or 7 times better because we're sharing our findings. AI will always default to the average, right? So find your uniqueness, put it out there, but it starts with you asking what makes us different.
AI is at the top of everyone's mind right now. But if you imagine a year or two from now where everybody's got access to the same AI agents where we can just press a button and they do all the work for us, then there's an important question that we need to ask. What makes your business different or better than your competitors? I believe that it comes down to how you do things. I believe that in business, how we do things will be everything in this age of AI. So I started asking founders this question, and something surprising happened. These conversations were so valuable that I knew I had to share them, and this is why I'm starting this new series inside the Creator's Adventure called Founder Stories. Hey everyone, I'm Bryan McAnulty, the founder of Heights Platform. Let's get into it. Hey, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brian. Excited to be here.
Yeah, glad to talk with you again. I just got to talk with you on your show, so glad to get to know you better now on my show. So before the Dynamic Agency existed, what frustrated you most about the industry and how does your company solve this problem?
Yeah, so well before this, I was in the Army as an infantry officer and then shifted gears completely to go into the agency world, where I was a marketer for an agency. I became their head of operations, and then I became the CEO. And through all of this time, I realized while we were usually good at marketing ourselves, we spent a lot of time just focused on delivery and just like, how do we just do really good work for our clients, which meant a lot of what we had to rely on was referrals for new business. When I started kind of peeling back the curtain on that, it's like, well, because we're doing this, we're not actually like looking at how are we different and how can we show up. And like, that's the reason why nobody really wants to, maybe not wants to work with us, but nobody even knows to work with us because they can't
know until they find out from actually talking with you.
And so any of the marketing we were doing, it was just marketing. It was like random acts of marketing almost, because we didn't have that clear picture of who we are and why we're different that we could put out into the world to, easily attract people. And so, yeah, that is now what I stand to solve for agencies.
Awesome. Yeah. And we've seen that you've said positioning is not just about changing the headline, but it's also about changing actually how the business operates. So can you explain that in some more detail?
Yeah. At risk of throwing shade at some other positioning coaches, I won't use names. A lot of people just view positioning exercises as like changing the headline on your website. And like that's part of positioning, because positioning is something that lives completely in the mind of the buyer. Right. And so we can't control it, but we can influence it. And so one of the ways we influence that is by putting our messaging out into the world. The challenge with that is we can say all of the best things, but if someone doesn't have proof that that's how we actually operate, it doesn't matter. You can imagine if you want to be known as like the fastest agency within this space, right? And so like we prioritize speed over everything else. The second someone starts working with you and you have a deliverable that goes past the deadline, even if it was like perfectly reasonable for it to go past, you're no longer seen as the fastest business. And so like you kind of lose credibility with that. And so we want to be able to pick like, how are we actually different? What are the calls we are making internally, structurally, that other people won't make? Like there is consequence for us making this choice. Maybe it's how we price. It's who we work with, right? Like our model for how we even deliver to you. All of these things could be very different. And by making that deliberate choice, and we're being intentional about this, we're actually saying no to certain people who like we're not trying to be the generalist agency anymore. We're not trying to attract everybody. We just want to be the right fit for the right person at the right time. And that's what positioning helps us do, so that when we do put that messaging out, we change the headline. Someone sees it and they say, this 100% is for me. And now your sales process is easier. You're going to attract more of them. You're going to get more referrals. All of these other things there's like a cascade of positive effects that this gets to have with your business.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like show, don't tell, but it's more than that, because you have to think of like, what are the consequences that this actually means for your business? If you're going to say that this is how we are, then how do you have to act to really prove that to be true? And yeah, what are the trade-offs and consequences that become something as a result of that?
Right.
Because it's a great point. Because if you go to your speed example and you say like, okay, so now like we have to deliver super fast. And if you do deliver super fast, even on that thing where it would have otherwise been reasonable to take longer, then that's how you get the testimonial. These guys are so fast. I can't believe it. And then you continue to attract more.
Yeah, it further builds out your positioning. Because that's another thing a lot of agencies get wrong, right? They'll just put a testimonial up that says they were great and I loved working with them. And it's like, yeah, that doesn't really tell me anything about you. But if speed is your priority and every testimonial talks about speed, then you get known as the agency who delivers that speed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great advice. And it's helpful to describe the kind of referral problem that you mentioned in the beginning too, because I think this is something that has to be constantly reevaluated for a business. And like, I know, like I thought I was kind of clear on our positioning of different things we're doing with our products, but only recently realized like there are actually things that we're doing that are very different from our competitors. And it is in the way that we operate, but we didn't even tell people. And so they come to us, they find out, they're pleasantly surprised, they're really happy. Wow, we delivered this great service, but we're missing out on people that could be discovering us if we could just tell them, hey, this is who we are from the first place.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's plenty of metaphors about it, right? You can't read the label from inside the jar. Solomon's paradox, nice technical term about it. King Solomon, super wise king, but he couldn't solve any of his own problems. Cobbler's kid shoes, all of those. Like, it's really hard to see it for ourselves for whatever reason. Even with my own business, like I very deliberately set up things like I work with sub-$1 million agencies. They are my primary target audience. Because of that, it means I have to price lower than what other agencies might be able to afford, because they don't have the huge budgets of, multi-million-dollar businesses. And so I've deliberately priced lower, but then that means I have to structure my business in a way where I can still make money, even though I'm, charging people less. And so there is consequence to that. I thought, okay, this is awesome. It's very deliberate. When I start working with people, one of the things they all point out more so than anything else is that I will actually get my hands dirty and work on their marketing assets with them. And they say, I've never had a coach who actually does marketing work for me. And usually, and it's not like I'm not doing their entire campaigns, but I'm like, if I know it's going to take me 30 minutes to do this one thing, but it might take you 2 to 3 hours because you've never done it before, it feels to me like a good teaching lesson to be able to help you see what good looks like, get that system set in place. And now we can move much faster and start bringing in business quicker. But so that has now become something, because I've had so many clients mention that, it's like that needs to start coming out in my positioning across my website, any of the content I'm producing, things like that.
Real quick, Bryan here. You know me as the host for this podcast, but what you might not know is I'm also the founder of Heights Platform. It's an all-in-one platform that over 10,000 creators have used to build their online courses, communities, and digital product businesses. We recently added some awesome updates to Heights.AI to help you turn your idea into a viable business. Heights.AI can build entire product offers, review your content, and even coach you on how to grow. You can try it for free for 30 days, links in the description. Now, back to the podcast. Yeah. So like, what are the things that people are telling you that they love about their service with you that you aren't correctly communicating to people publicly?
Right. And it's hard to find that sometimes. So an exercise I like doing is just before you even talk to your clients, look at like 5 years down the road. What would they say was the best outcome they got from working with you? Or like, what problem did you solve for them? What are those things you think they would say? And if you can easily just say that for yourself, like, these things, then I would actually go back to them and say, hey, we really think we were able to help you with speed, right? Since we're going to keep using this example, would you be willing to give us a testimonial specifically about this and like how that helped your business? You could even write it for them and then tell them, like, tweak it if you think it needs tweaking. Otherwise, if you're happy with it, we'll just take it right back and we're good to go. But then you can actually get the people saying the exact things you need, and it's still an honest play. Like, you're still only getting them to say the things that they would be comfortable putting out there anyways.
Yeah. It's a great point. So since starting the dynamic agency, can you think of one investment that you made, big or small, that you feel has had the biggest impact on your business?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I am a solopreneur. I think the investment I made on myself was probably building out a robust chief of staff for myself, an AI chief of staff. Because I can only do so much. And so because some of those decisions I made for pricing people lower, it's like I need to be able to be super efficient in my work. Otherwise, I can't take on more clients. And then I'm stuck at a revenue ceiling that's not very high. But by including this chief of staff, I call mine the chief of stuff because it manages things rather than people. I can do so much more with my business because I just taken everything that I'm thinking and doing. I remove all of my, like, not necessarily menial tasks, but like the busy work, right? The thing like collecting client notes at the end of a call and making sure everybody knows what action items they have. Things like that, prepping my week, prepping my podcast, things like all those things that are just, it's busy work, but it needs to happen. I can now do that very fast. So I spend more time with clients actually thinking through their marketing, and they're getting more of my like creative processes and more personal time with me, actually helping them build their accounts. And so it was a huge, small monetary investment, but a huge time investment to end up to getting this working exactly how I need it to, with all the proper connectors and things like that.
Yeah. So I want to talk more about AI now. And with the idea that if every business has access to the same magic AI agents that we can press this button and it just does almost any of our work for us, then what makes your company different from somebody else? And I think we're already touching on these things about like the processes and the way that you work. But yeah, I'd love to hear more of your perspective on that.
Yeah, that's like the $1 million question, right? So in my model for positioning, I believe there's 11 different levers that we can pull on. And what we should be doing is finding 3 to 5 of these levers and stacking them. And that's what makes us really different. And so like one of the levers is your market focus. Like, what industry do I want to work with? And for all of these, it goes more than just like, well, I want to work with these people because they have money. I enjoy working with them. I've had clients like this before. It's like, why is it a benefit to them? Because there needs to be a reason for them to want to pick you. But so I might take market focus as one. My delivery model could be another. So are we doing this asynchronously? Are we doing it in group coaching? Is it a done for you offer? I'm going to do everything, right? Those different pieces of your delivery model matter to someone in their decision-making process. So I could use that. I could use my methodology, right? How I'm actually going to do the work. And then we could add like a strong risk reversal. So like what guarantee are we able to put in here so that people feel like the more of the risk is on us than them? No matter how we're using AI, if we use it to build up those levers so that we can make them more pronounced, it is much easier for us to stand out and not seem the same. And so if we are doing like asynchronous communication as our delivery model, and that's something people care about in the space, we feel like it's really going to set us apart, then I want to be probably building some sort of AI bot that will talk to my clients. It has my knowledge and it can kind of interface for when I'm not readily available to talk to them. They have this as a resource. And so now it is completely asynchronous, and I know you are always getting attention no matter what. It could be the same on the risk reversal side, right? If me spending more time using some AI tools for the systems that I'm building internally in order to help you, that means I have to put less of a time investment into each account. So if something doesn't work out and I have to get money back, which I'm not a fan of money back guarantees, I should add that. But if I have to do something like that, or I have to lose the account, it's like I'm not as far off on like that loss spectrum, right? Like I don't have to give I might have only worked 5 hours on your account, where normally if I didn't have AI as a resource, it could have been 20 hours. And so now I'm like really far behind. I have to go find a new client. It's going to take them another 20 hours before I get to this same point in the engagement. Versus 5 hours, it's like I could take on 4 more clients before I hit that point. And so I can put a heavier guarantee in there. And so if that is something you care about, like now I'm able to kind of back it more strongly. So yeah, a lot of things like that. There's tons of probably examples we could get into, but I would just be looking at what levers am I pulling now to stand out? Can I use AI to elevate that specific lever so I stand out more for that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great advice. And I think everybody has to think bigger in how they can potentially improve whatever it is they're offering, especially now that they can in some way integrate AI to kind of help them make that possible. When did you first realize that AI could be kind of multiplying your abilities here? And like what was the thing that clicked for you? Because it's changing so fast, but I know like it could have been that, like, who knows, like 6 months ago or a little bit before, it would have been like, well, yeah, this would be nice to have this chief of stuff, but it's not going to work for me. It's not reliable. I can't trust it. And like, so yeah, what kind of changed and what and where did you realize like, wow, this can work for what I need now?
Yeah, so I think it was probably two different like epiphanies that happened. The first one was like probably 2023-ish. There were a lot of companies that started to like let go of people. So like, oh, AI can actually do one person with AI can do the job of 5, say. And even then that was like probably a reach. But the idea was like AI is a force multiplier, right? If it can do this much more work, I can actually save a ton of money by reducing my team size and only having one person do that work. And when I saw so many companies doing that, I was immediately like, why? It doesn't make sense to me. If it is a multiplier, then why wouldn't I give 5 people that times 5 multiple to have 25 times the effort within our company? Now we can do so much more for the same price. And so I might not grow the team as fast, but I don't need to let people go, because that company that now only has 1 team member is only as efficient as every other company is right now. So yeah, you're saving some money, but what are you doing with it? So that was like one thing that kind of got me thinking about AI differently. It's more, how do we use this in a way to multiply our effectiveness and efficiencies? Not just
and I completely agree with that too. Yeah, it's not just about how we save a little bit of money, but how can we just do better than ever before now that everybody can be using this capability?
Yeah. The second one was realizing how important context is for AI to work. The people who that I was hearing the most about, like, oh, there's so many hallucinations and we're not getting these great results. It's like they were the ones doing like this, trying to single prompt everything. And like, you know, they just weren't using a system. With this, like, my chief of staff has full access to everything that I touch. Every meeting I'm in has my Fathom recording, but it also has Granola that's going, and like I'm throwing some notes in there. If it's a really important meeting, I will take my handwritten notes, because for some reason I still do that during meetings, and I will annotate, or I'll dictate that into a Google Doc, which then gets added as well. So it has all of the things that I'm even thinking of that weren't verbally stated in that call. I don't think I've ever had a hallucination using my chief of staff, because I'm giving it very specific things to answer based off work I'm already doing. It's only trained up on how, like, my processes, my systems that I know I can get a manual result from. So I'm not like trying to get it to create something new out of thin air. And it's just like night and day for like being able to use that versus everybody else who's just, one prompting things and getting terrible results.
Yeah. So if these 5 employees can each become 5 times more productive with AI, then how does a founder or entrepreneur have to kind of rethink the roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll say one quick piece. So it's like, you also get the benefit. It is probably, say, 5 times. But when you also have everybody working on it together and sharing their results, it really becomes like 6 or 7 times better. Because we're sharing our findings. It's not one person learning how to do this. It's one person getting a great result saying, hey, everybody, look at this. And now I don't need to spend the time learning. So that gets better.
Yeah. Even if not nothing more than just like being able to say, like, hey guys, look at this, and making it known to everyone else that like this is now possible.
Right. That's so I don't code at all. Like I have no coding experience. One of my buddies is who actually worked at the agency that I was running with me. He is developer first, like mentality on everything. And sometimes he will just use a term and it's like, I can use that to then explore. So like, I didn't know what a cron job was before doing this. I'm just like, how do I get this thing to fire at certain times? And he's like, oh, it's a cron job. It's like, oh, okay. That hearing that word was all I needed to unlock how to actually set things up so they fired it at the right time. So yeah, 100% your point. Awesome. But to your question, so like how should a founder be rethinking like how they're structuring work and the positions and everything? It's almost like you just, rather than hiring full teams to do everything, I would just be considering like this person is our head of whatever that topic is. An idea that I was playing with a lot before even AI was big was like, we always have heads of departments. It's like you might be the head of marketing and you got a bunch of different marketers under you. Very rarely do we ever have like a head of copywriting. And it's like, hey, you are running all the copywriting stuff for the company, and how the copywriting is done here funnels through you. Doesn't mean you need to see every piece of copy, but it does mean if someone has a question, you are the source to go to. And so now there's two paths. You have like the specialist path, and then you have the leadership path that you could be developing on. I think the specialist path works really well when you have AI, because I can get really good at being just a marketer in a specific skill set, and then build all the agents, build all the things. So I'm managing a team. I get this little bit of leadership kind of from here, but I can also then give this to my other team members and just run it through that. Right. So now it's like we're building out an AI team beneath all of the humans who can just manage it because they're already subject matter experts.
Yeah. So then I'm curious, like, because there's a lot here. Even if somebody's listening to this and somebody's like, yeah, well, I sent some prompts to ChatGPT or to Claude, but yeah, it gives me a message back. But like what you guys are talking about sounds a lot different. There's a lot to like bridge that gap in understanding how to be able to use these tools in this like kind of different way of working. So do you have any thoughts about like if like for those out there that are like solo entrepreneurs, or maybe they have a virtual assistant or a couple of people helping them out occasionally, like what happens when they start moving faster than the people that they're working with? Any like recommendations for that? Or is there any recommendations on how somebody can kind of help their team or employees understand how can they learn to not just do these tasks directly, but be able to effectively direct the AI to help them?
Yeah, so I think having some sort of learning system for your AI. So like one of the simple things that someone gave me some coaching on at one point was like looking at how would we normally take a project and just bring it to life? Like if an agency was being hired to create something out of nothing, what would happen first? It's like, all right, we'd have a PRD, right? Project requirements doc. And so that's our planning process of like, let me just talk to AI and just give it, hey, this is everything I want to build. Before you build anything, let's talk about what this could look like. And let's just go back and forth, have a conversation. And then the final output from that is a massive document that has everything that needs to happen in this build process. If that matches all of the outcomes we're looking for, it has all of our processes. We're able to feed it documentation, right? Well, this is how our company does this. Maybe it's like, so you had a certain call with the CEO who gave you instructions to make something in a very specific way. It's like, let me take that call recording and feed it in there as well. So it has the context of why we're even doing this project. Once you get that PRD, then it's just building it out, and you run some tests and you keep tweaking until you get the exact result you're looking for. You make sure you have a gold standard for what the final output should look like. The AI gets trained on this as the gold standard to rate everything else it produces based on that. And now you should be able to, like, you're off to the races, really. But so it takes almost like a project management type mentality to say, okay, well, I can't just go in and say, like, let me build this. It's like, okay, where do we have to start? It's like, well, let's make sure our requirements are set. Then let's build it. Then let's test it, validate, and move forward.
I think that's probably the biggest thing that people overlook, because, everybody, we're presented with this prompt window and this text box, and it's like, okay, well, I need this thing. They hit go, they hit build, they hit send, and then it's like, well, that's not what I wanted. It's
Right.
like, well, okay, yeah, but did you say what you wanted? And so you do have to put some time into communicating all the things that are important, and what the actual result has to look like. And it sounds like that could become tedious, but I mean, realistically, if you're an efficient team, you'd be doing that with your team.
Right.
It would look the same if you're going to go hand it off to somebody. Otherwise, you guys are going to be spending back and forth
Yeah.
on calls all day, right? So,
Right. Essentially
yeah,
sharpening the axe, right? Like you're
right. So
do this
it
first.
would look like that anyway. And the benefit though of AI is like, if you're not sure, like what are the things you need to communicate, just ask it. So like, can you ask me some things about this? Is this clear
Right.
to you? Do you have any questions? Like, ask me some more questions just to clarify with me, and then take all
Yeah.
that. Now when you're set, okay, now you go build, and then it's what you want.
Yeah. Ultra think in Claude Code specifically. I don't know what other tools might use for this, but like if you just type the word ultra think in there, you'll see like it turns into like a rainbow of colors for that word. But it gets it to think way deeper about whatever the topic is as well. And so when you give it that and say use ultra think and go into planning mode and just hit me with every, like, you want to be comprehensive in your planning, so hit me with every possible question you can think of to make sure we have the exact plan we're looking for, you get some pretty good results. But I think as a society, because we've spent so much time typing and we're all, it's like we've been trained to self-edit as we type, right? You want to be as concise as possible in your messaging. And so as we're typing, we're like thinking about like, okay, what's the fewest amount of words I need in order to get this across? I would recommend using a tool like Whisperflow or some other dictation tool and just word vomit onto the page, like get everything out. When you start dictating, like you're just saying everything on your mind, and that actually works to your benefit because the AI gets way more context about what you're thinking. And because you're not self-editing, most of us suck at public speaking anyways. And so like just getting the words onto the page helps substantially in getting a better output.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I do the same thing. I bought a little separate clip-on mic so I can walk away from the computer and just walk around and talk for a while. And then, I give that just mess of whatever to the AI, and it's better. You're right, because it has more in it than me trying to sit there and edit and think, how can I say this in the perfect way that somebody's going to really understand it? You can just say, oh, wait, no, actually, this is the kind of thing. And then you're just kind of rambling on about it, but eventually you get the details. AI, unlike the human doesn't have to sit there and listen through an hour or half hour of you talking. You need to make it clear for them, but for the AI, it can process that text and figure it out.
Right. Yeah. My content process right now is I'll do all the SEO research, reviewing like voice of the customer type stuff from like Reddit, like everywhere. I'm just find what topics do I want to talk about. First, I have to promote my positioning. Like that's one of the critical components, obviously. But then I find those topics. I have an SEO research tool that's just via API, and so Claude Code has access to it. It'll look up, how difficult of a keyword is this to rank for, how much volume is there, all of these things. I then look at the titles and the angle that we want to take, because it has training on how I think about these already. But then it finds 3 to 5 questions for each of them that if it had my answer as a subject matter expert, it would be able to make a very unique article. So it takes, I don't know, I'll usually do like batches of 4 to 6 articles. It'll take all of those and put them into an interview doc in Google. And so I get every article I'm working on with, 3 to 6 questions probably built in. And then I just open that on my phone and I'll go for a walk and just dictate my answers to each of the questions. And then I come back, I have it write all of my content, and then I go through and edit. And the edits keep getting better because I always feed those articles back in and say, hey, here's what I changed, like store that in your memory. But because it has my actual thoughts, it's like, I'm not worried about someone complaining this is AI content. It's like, yes, I use AI to help write it, but it's all thoughts that I personally had and want to put out in the world. This is the fastest way for me to get you content that could help your business. I'm okay with that. Like if you're not comfortable with an M dash here and there or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's what I've been doing as well. Just the same exact process basically. And, that's the difference of like, hey, go write me an article, which is going to end up being absolute slop.
Right.
And hey, this is what we have to research. This is what we're trying to accomplish. Now, knowing that, you have to ask me, come up with a bunch of questions. Like I did something for AI for one of our products like 2 days ago. It came up with 58 questions. And then I just do the same thing. I turn on the dictation and I just go through and just say all the answers. And then now it has that. It knows why I think something about it. It knows why I would approach it a certain way.
Right.
And it's all coming from me. And it's just transforming what I said into a more nice kind of blog post format.
100%. When I think about how I used to do content, it's like, oh man, this is way better. Why? Like, I wish we had this. But at the same time, I wouldn't have understood what a good article is if I hadn't gone through and done it manually first. And so that's probably worth
that's a very important kind of caveat, I think, is that the places where you can go the fastest is where you have the most understanding and knowledge already.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you can make bad things quickly. So you have to try to learn and figure those things out for yourself. Like what would make a good article? What are the things that people want to care about or want to read here or are searching for or whatever that is.
Right.
And then when you have the clear and deep understanding of that, that's when you get to go really fast with these tools. And everybody has something that they're really especially skilled in. And so like those are the areas where you get to go the fastest.
Right. 100%. Yeah, we're in a different world now, but
yeah,
it's awesome. Like there's so much that we can do now that like I would not have been able to run a solo business myself. A solo business myself. Yeah. I would not have been able to do as much with my solo business as I'm doing now if I didn't have these resources to be able to pull on. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a incredibly exciting time for entrepreneurs, I think. I want to get into a quick kind of like lightning round, looking for like a 10-second answer or a kind of quick take for these next few. Is replacing employees the worst way to use AI?
I would say so.
Should every employee be expected to use AI in 2026?
Yes. Unless you're doing some like very manual job that AI just can't replicate yet. Like, yeah, you need to be probably using it in some way. Otherwise, like you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, some kind of work with the computer, then you should be using it. What is one task that humans should never delegate to AI?
Sending a birthday note to your mom.
Good one.
first thing in my head.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Will small AI-powered teams outperform large enterprises?
I think so. I think that's when you consider how hard it is for enterprise companies to make any decision because of all the things they have to move and align and the red tape they have to go through. A small team can get a lot done now. And with that multiplier effect, they can crush them.
Yeah. Is AI making most agencies interchangeable?
Yes, the ones that are not using it correctly, and how we talked earlier, to actually promote their positioning and do things to make themselves actually stand out. And like AI will always default to the average, right? So unless you're doing something unique with AI, it's not going to help you.
What's the biggest lie that people believe about positioning?
That changing the headline on their website is enough.
All right, awesome. And Chris, on the show, I like to have every guest ask a question to the audience. So if you could ask our audience anything, whether it's something you're curious about or just want to get people thinking about, what would that be?
So I would ask, what is an intentional decision that you have made about your business for how you want to do business that is actually unique, and have you been using that to help yourself stand out? That's probably a run-on question, but like find your uniqueness, put it out there, but it starts with you asking what makes us different. And then hopefully that is something intentional that you have done with your business. Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing to think about. All right, Chris, it was great talking with you. Before we get going, where else can people find you online?
Yeah, Dynamic Agency OS. You can learn more about me there. And if you just want to chat, then the LinkedIn is the place to go.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I'd like to take a moment to invite you to join our free community of over 5,000 creators at creatorclimb.com. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, check out the Heights Platform YouTube channel every Tuesday at 9 a.m. US Central. To get notified when new episodes release, join our newsletter at thecreatorsadventure.com. Until then, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next episode.